In a previous presentation, we discussed the difference between critical thinking and overthinking. The current discussion is aimed at answering or responding to a question how to stop overthinking, which is generally something that is not considered positive in terms of helping us or assisting us in dealing with our problems positively. So how to stop overthinking? First of all, let us have a brief summary of what thinking is and what is overthinking. Now, what is thinking? Generally, thinking is information processing by our brains. The process of thinking involves reasoning and inferencing, which actually means judgments or getting to conclusions based on our reasoning. And ultimately, the aim of thinking, all thinking generally, is to make judgments or to enable us to make informed judgments. Now, what is overthinking? Overthinking is generally unmethodical, uncontrolled, repetitive thinking that is often focused on problems or the negatives of things. It is focused generally on the impossibilities rather than solutions to our problems, and so ultimately overthinking generally is focused not on the possibilities of doing things or getting solutions, but on the impossibilities and the hindrances in the way of our intentions or in the way of our efforts to make informed judgments and to take actions. Now, it is clear from this that thinking is good, and generally thinking helps us in informed decision making and in taking actions. But overthinking is not so good because it stops us from taking actions, which is ultimately the end of actually all the thinking process. Now, what are some of the ways in which we can actually deal with when we are stuck in the process of overthinking, or how not to do overthinking? So, first of all, there are three main ways in which we can deal with the problem of overthinking. First of all, physical actions. Generally, actions are important, and so when we take actions, that is something that is one way in which we actually can deal with the process of overthinking. Besides actions, we need sometimes to make distractions or to take distractions as a strategy to deal with our overthinking. And so changing our, for example, physical spaces, changing the way we do our physical work or involvement in physical work, also involving in physical activities or exercises and in games is one way of dealing with the problem of overthinking. So generally physical actions, whether in the form of changing our spaces or the nature of our physical work or getting involved in physical work, in games and exercises, this is one of the ways that can help us in dealing with the problem of overthinking. Secondly, psychological or metacognitive responses. So metacognitive self-help, which actually means helping ourselves getting out of situations where we are stuck in just thinking about situations or problems. So we need to keep positive even in problem situations, and we need to look at positive examples where other people are stuck in such situations and they have got through those situations. So positive comparisons with people who have gone through such problems or issues or who have been in deeper problems and who have come out of those problems. Positive comparisons, again, this is a mental process, and so it's a psychological way of dealing with your overthinking. And then focusing on the good rather than the problem. So focusing on the solution is another way of dealing psychologically with the process of overthinking. Because the more you think negatively, the murkier the process of overthinking becomes. And so keeping a positive outlook at life and at your situation is something that helps in the process of dealing with and stopping overthinking. And thirdly, we as human beings are social animals. So social interaction, in the process of socialization, for example, socialization with friends or family members and near and dear ones is one way of dealing with overthinking. Socialization is a very good distraction from the problems in which we are actually stuck. Similarly, sharing of our problems, sharing of the way we are dealing with our problems, sharing our feelings is perhaps one of the ways that can help us in getting out of our mood of overthinking. Similarly, social distractions, which again is getting to and becoming part of social gatherings, for example, is an important way of dealing with the problem of overthinking. And ultimately, overall, positive social interaction is an important way of dealing with the process of our overthinking. Social interactions might also help us in thinking about and in observing the difficulties and the difficult situations of others who are dealing with those sorts of situations in a more positive way. So to summarize, overthinking is an important problem that many people face. Overthinking is also faced by people in academia, especially by research students, who often keep on thinking about certain things without taking practical actions to deal with those situations. And so in order to deal with the problem of overthinking, we need to take physical actions. We need to deal with this psychologically using our metacognitive abilities. And we need to deal with overthinking through social interactions with the people around us. So these are the things that can actually help us in dealing with the problem of our overthinking.